Hello everyone, today I'm back after a almost 2-week drought of uploads, mainly because I did get the China virus. I did get it. I am positive. I tested for it even, and so I've been getting mild symptoms, but I'm going to tank it, and I'm going to be reacting to my friend David Carlson's video on Jack Murphy, and I'll mostly let it play, and I'll put it on double speed for you guys.
Jon Goldman, a libertarian populist manosphere figure, has fallen from grace. He's been exposed as a porn star and a pathological liar with an inconsistent story and ideology. A man who was propelled into his position by chance, or perhaps there were other nefarious elements at work, which until now we have been unaware of. In this video, we're going to be talking about the curious case of Jack Murphy, aka Jon Goldman, revealing never before reported inconsistencies, contradictions, and suspicious connections. So get comfortable, grab some popcorn and water, sit back, and enjoy the video.
I can already start by David counter-signaling the Diet Coke nationalism. Quite frankly, it's somewhat scary to see. Promoting water usage. Ew, water? What the? And I'm kidding, but overall, the production is stellar. The only thing that molests me about this is watching Jack. Like, the physiognomy, the dyed beard is weird, and bald. Of course, he's bald, of course. Ugh.
Mr. Dick and Balls says, hey, Jack.
See, that's what she does. She does this. Well, she reads like that's normal. Like, instead of even trying to skip the name, she just goes, Mr. Dick and Balls said.
Could you please clear up the cuck article you wrote?
I am not going to talk about
Again?
this. And basically, you know what? Fuck you for bringing this up right here and right now. Why are you doing this to me?
I didn't know that. I didn't know what it was.
Well, just use a little bit of fucking common sense.
Sorry, apologies.
Yeah, fuck you.
Elizabeth,
Heartfelt.
Housley says,
This is Jon Goldman, but he's better known as Jack Murphy. To know how he got here, you're going to have to go way back to 2015. And to understand that, you're going to have to go even further back, before Trump, before Obama. Jon Goldman was just a kid born in Washington, D.C. He grew up in D.C. He went to GeorgeTown, the School of Foreign Services. He has
Phenomenal usage of the first Star Wars, the reboot from 2015. That is amazing. Okay.
described in his book, when the 2008 election rolled around, I saw it as another chance to bring our country together. I proudly voted for Obama, waiting in line for 2 hours to participate in a historic moment in a deep blue city where one additional vote for Obama had no bearing on the election, but casting that symbolic vote still meant something to me. By the standards of the day, I was a perfect Democrat. Jon Goldman was the perfect Democrat, and he had the perfect Democratic job.
Why does he have this, like, TV parallel line, like, filling the screen? I don't know what to call it. Especially, like, on himself. Like, I don't get what the point
From 2009 to 2015, he was head minister and an executive at 3 separate charter schools. But that's when his world changed. Him and his wife got a divorce.
Okay, not to be a dick, but DC, you gotta move like 2 feet away from the camera. Maybe he was holding something with his hands. I don't know, but like too much of the face was taking up my laptop screen. So being simulated 2 feet away from David with the screen at my face is weird.
Got divorced, and this was like 2008 or 9. It was so confusing and foreign to me that I had no idea what was going on. So I started clicking around and reading online, like, how do I meet some girls? And I just started pulling on that thread and then understand what was going on in the dating and mating markets and like the impact of feminism and disparate education. So I just kept asking and digging, and truly I have been pulling on that same thread since 2008, still pulling on it today. From like, how do I find a girlfriend in 2009, digging all the way back now to source documents on the founding of state constitutions and pre-revolutionary America. Like, it's all connected.
Jon Goldman never really says what communities he was looking for. And while consuming a copious amount of Jon Goldman content over the past 2 weeks, I've realized one thing. He is a pathological liar. He lies a lot, but not in really big, obvious ways. He lies by admitting some details. He lies by not saying the full truth. He lies by means of deduction. For example, despite him being doxxed, he still doesn't give his audience the full truth by revealing his name. He still goes by Jack Murphy. And when the subject is even approached, he gets very touchy and nervous. And he doesn't seem like he wants to expose himself in ways that people would be able to search.
I was using a fake name. Jack Murphy is not my real name, everybody. Spoiler alert.
Then what
Look at how his eyes are moving. You can tell that fucker's lying.
is your full name? The first thing I noticed about Jack Murphy that made me suspicious of him was this very thing. But more on that is to come. And let's return to that question. What communities? Perhaps he was looking for libertarian populist Christian communities, manospheric communities, or BDSM, cuckolding, and homosexual pornographic communities.
Yikes. I don't know why DC made it yellow, but I mean, it kind of looks cool. Maybe that's why, but no, definitely linking the articles is somewhat jarring to see how this guy pretends to be masculine and kind of didn't, like it's, I don't know. I feel like if you're a pervert like Jack Murphy and don't say you are explicitly, like, often enough, it feels like you're hiding it. Which obviously you should hide that. That's disgusting. But yeah, no, this is definitely something that is gross to think about.
And these are the questions that we'll never have the answers to because Jack Murphy will not address them honestly. And regardless of what communities he was searching for, his new friends and his new circle eventually led him to a place where he was doxxed, fired, and a complete change in his career had to take place. Now, in 2015, on a Twitter thread, he explains that in these communities that he began circling after his divorce, in 2009, he met a guy named Mike Cernovich. Now, this is that thread. Back in 2015, I found myself running charter schools. I was just a normal guy doing normal things with a hobby of posting forums and reading man-type blogs. And then my friend Cernovich got on Twitter, and I followed him here. I just watched and tried to figure it out. I tweet some, but only to a few people. Stuff you'd never say to 25,000 followers. Edgy and fun. It was a lark mostly. The truth is, this is an excuse. When you say something on Twitter, whether you mean it or not, you know that it's being broadcasted out, and that will probably follow you. And the important thing about this is, I don't think that anybody who has aspirations like Jack Murphy does, would tweet something and not mean it. I thought no one would ever see it. Then one day I answered a question Mike asked on one of his tweets. He said write it up and post it to his own blog. So I did, and it got a ton of replies as DNP was the hottest thing around in 2015. I felt the electricity of engagement for the first time and I was hooked, so I started my own blog. Now this blog, he probably didn't know it when he was writing this tweet in 2018, but it would come back to haunt him. It's where he wrote a lot of nasty things that, well, kind of ruined his career at this point. And I started writing about what I was interested at the time, sex and relationships. I was anonymous. It was fun, harmless, and so I said some crazy stuff. True stuff, but outlandish nevertheless. All while I'm tweeting and blogging anonymously, making new friends and spending time on magazine, I'm still doing my old job, running charter schools and helping poor kids get better educations. Everything was going great until the photo. This photo, which he's referring to as a photo.
Okay, that's bizarre. He somewhat admitted everything 2 years ago and expected that it would go away despite him already saying that it happened. So I guess what he was doing was pulling an 8 Mile, where infamously B Rabbit goes ahead and insults himself in front of everybody, hoping that nobody attacks him after that because obviously he already said it. Here it didn't work because the vast majority of people hearing about Jack Murphy didn't follow him on Twitter 2 years ago, so they had no idea about the sex stuff, but they just had a vague understanding that he was some like populist Inc. guy who was this masculine paragon of right-wing ideology, and clearly that fell through. So the fucker had no sense of future notion, or better said, he had no wherewithal to understand that he probably should have not done what he did, and even if he did, he should have been more open about it, and maybe be more like Bronze Age Pervert, who's also, you know, annoying, but at least is more upfront with the degeneracy.
Photo of him, Jack Posobiec, William Chamberlain, Cassandra Fairbanks, and 3 other people. One of them being Bradley Edward Manning, otherwise known as Chelsea Manning.
Chelsea Manning is speaking out on her struggle to come out as being transgender. Manning, formerly known as Bradley, gave more than
Oh, come on. That is so fucking disgusting. Look at this person. Oh my god.
700,000 military and diplomatic classified documents to WikiLeaks and was sentenced to 35 years in
Sick.
prison.
As the scandal unfolded, that innocuous picture made its way onto the internet. Chelsea Manning in a photo with a bunch of so-called alt-right MAGA types was all of a sudden a very big deal. The crazies on the left were incensed. They began to identify everyone in the picture. Dear John, my real name. You are hereby suspended until further notice. And with that, my phone was reset off-site, my email was shut down, and I was in the dark. It turns out Antifa saw that picture with Chelsea Manning, they figured out who I was, and then launched a Twitter campaign to get me fired. And so I was. And so he was. He was fired from his job, and at the time, he claimed he was desperate for money. And so he resorted to drastic actions.
69 for 69, guys. Yes, I have definitely fucked guys before.
But that we'll get into later. Now, in
I've definitely fucked guys before. Don't clip that. Jeez, that is
his
embarrassing.
book, Democrat and Deplorable, he said that he was fired because he had conservative opinions. In a podcast, he said the following.
I was just got fired for being a white male, even though I hit all my performance metrics.
Those two stories are inconsistent, but neither of them are true. The real reason he was fired was for the outlandish but true things he said in his blog. He participated in rape apologism. In a post since deleted, he said feminists need rape. It is our duty as men to save feminists from themselves. Therefore, I am offering rape to feminists as an olive branch. In another post, which has since been deleted, he said, if you
No fucking way he said that. What?
duty as men to save feminists from themselves. Therefore, I am offering rape to feminists.
The writings from Goldman on his Jack Murphy site were hardly any better. In one post, he said that feminists need rape. It is our duty as men to save feminists from themselves. Therefore, I'm offering rape to feminists as an olive branch. If you open your ass, you open your mind. How does that make any sense? That is just disgusting. So I don't even feel like he unironically believes it. I just think that he wrote that while he was horny. And to think of writing something like that when you're horny is also, you know, opens up like, okay, what the fuck are you getting off to, Jack?
Feminists as an olive branch. In another post, which has since been deleted, he said, if you open her ass, you open her mind. John Goldman was posting inappropriate rape apologism and rape fantasies on his blog while working at a company which helped charter schools. John Goldman was fired from his job not because of racism or sexism or because he offended feminists or posed with Jack Posobiec or because he was white. He was fired because he offered to sexually assault feminists. Now, I'm not feminist. I'm the furthest thing from a feminist. But even I think this is conduct worth being fired from a school. Jack Murphy lied not only once in his book, not only twice in the program podcast, but throughout his whole career, he never actually said why he was fired from his job. Honestly, the real reason. The reason being, he said he wanted to sexually assault women. Jack Murphy's response to this firing was any publicity is good publicity. He became fully on board with the libertarian populist Trump MAGA movement. He used this and his connections with many DC conservatives to write a book titled Democrats to Deplorable: Why 9 Million Obama Voters Ditched the Democrats and Embraced Donald Trump. Jack Murphy, since the inception of his career, has been lying about the reason for his cancellation, but despite knowing everybody from Will Chamberlain to Tim Pool for years before his cancellation, no one called him out on this. In his book, we find another lie, and even more missing context. He only mentions his close friend, Mike Cernovich, 2 times. And in section 1 of his book, he doesn't say that he met Jack Posobiec until 2017, but this photo, which he was doxed in 2015, shows that that was another lie. This whole situation, the firing, the connections, the book, the opportunism, it feels forced, it feels astroturf. Tim Pool, a close friend of his and an even closer friend of Cassandra Fairbanks, spoke about him and his firing in a since deleted video titled School Teacher Fired for Being a Supporter of Donald Trump. We know that that is not true. Jack Murphy was also the first guest on the Timcast IRL podcast in another deleted video. And because of these connections, when Jack Murphy launched his YouTube channel, his guests were hard-hitting, very popular, and very influential conservative figures. And because of this, he was propelled straight into the spotlight, and that spotlight came with the privilege of interviewing even more very influential and powerful people like Michael Anton of Hillsdale University, J.D. Vance, Bronze Age Pervert, and dozens, nay, hundreds.
Imagine having a podcast and then unironically posting Bronze Age Pervert as your guest. That is a fucking L. Just look at the bottom right of the screen right now, boys. Exclusive interview with Bronze Age Pervert. Nigga, change your name. That is so cringe. Bap, you fucking retard, on Twitter. Nobody gives a shit about him anyway. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, in terms of him interviewing these people, what it does show is that he is a hustler, right? Like, he's able to take literally no skill, he has no leverage over anybody, and somehow made a career. Obviously he's not that relevant, but still enough to make a living out of, doing bullshit, not being talented in any particular way. Dan Bongino is a more talented guy, and I don't give a shit about him, so.
Hundreds of other individuals. He also launched the Liminal Order. The Liminal Order is an exclusive men's group with over 800 members and a lot of Masonic imagery. It's a place for men to share tips and ideas regarding business, family, and ideology. A fraternity dedicated to forming a group of men focused on bettering one another through sharing information and promoting masculinity and things like that. You can pay $100 a month to do this, or you can pay like the $700 or $900 annual. 800 members, $100 a month. That's like $40,000 shy of $1 million a year. Jack Murphy has said since the scandal that we'll get into has unfolded, he's lost over 200 members. That's about a quarter of his revenue, or $250,000.
Wow.
So, yeah. Anyways, Jack Murphy went on people's live shows and podcasts and interviews to promote his Liminal Order and his new book, Democrats and Deplorable. You probably, if you've seen these podcasts, have seen the darker side of Jack Murphy.
Look, I'm getting texts at the comments are calling me blue pilled and teaching submission and stuff like that. Fine.
I'm sure people are telling me I'm
F you guys. Okay. Wait until you're in my exact particular position.
He lashes out, seems really defensive at points, and is kind of almost emotionally insecure.
Is it
and
me, or
when we
did
went
the
on
audio
episode
go
2
down a
with
little
Elijah
bit?
Schaffer and Sydney
So
Watson,
maybe David
Jack
can
Murphy
fix
or
that
Jon
for the
Goldman
next
was
video.
exposed in more ways than one.
Jack Murphy is jumping off the social media cliff.
There's a little bit of fucking common sense. I've always been pretty suspicious of any self-help gurus.
Does he seem like a serial killer to you?
But Jack went on Tim Pool and very carefully explained that he set clear boundaries, and that bitch broke them.
I know Sydney very well. She's a friend of mine. She had absolutely no malicious intent. She was trying to do her job. She probably thought it was a joke, too. I mean, she didn't know that this guy had written about that before.
Sexual past. He's got like a bunch of kids with different women. I'm not a fan of that. And then a bunch of porn came out. He was on this site called Chatsturbate. A treasure trove of self-filmed apps from conservative alpha gigachad Jack Murphy surfaced on the internet.
Yes, I have definitely fucked that before.
Last night.
Jeez.
But it is a problem when you're a conservative alpha gigachad charging men $100 a month to teach them how to be a better man, and these videos of you sitting on silicone surface, and we have to see them.
Oh my God, everybody know you a bitch.
This guy, Jack Murphy, he's a popular podcaster, and recently, in the past year, he's risen to prominence because he has appeared on the Tim Pool live show. He's a recurring guest there. This popular conservative live streamer, commentator, well, it turns out, number one, he's Jewish. Jack Murphy's not even his real name. His real name's Jon Goldman.
I'm
Number
surprised
two,
David
he used to do
was
porn. He used to be a
sitting
porn star 2 years ago, and now they're parading this guy around as some
What a
kind of fight
coincidence
coach.
that he's a
Number
Jew,
three,
though.
the porn he was in was gay porn.
Bro, no, please stop, David.
Oh, thank you for the tip for the gram. That's my favorite. Oh.
I'm surprised he's showing this much. That is so gross.
In 2015, in a blog post, which he says he
Jack's physiognomy is fucking ugh. Jeez. And the hoe that he was fucking in the blue bra was not even good looking either, bro.
regrets, but also says are true nevertheless. He has an article titled Cultivating Erotic Energy from a Surprising Source, where he divulges that he is writing this blog post while his wife is going on a hot Tinder date. Sydney Watson, because she was reading Super Chats, brought this up on the episode of You Are Here with Elijah Schaffer and Sydney Watson, and so he got very defensive. That is what has been known now as the incident, and it caused all of this mayhem. See, the funny thing is, if Jack Murphy hadn't freaked out and acted in such an effeminate way, then people would have stopped researching it at that point. They would have gone, okay, and moved on with their day.
Bruh.
Instead, he lost his mind, and people started digging. So the Quartering brought to light pornographic film of him from 2017 and 2018. The National File reports conservative influencer wrote about cuckolding, then threw a fit, now his gay porn surfaced. Jon Goldman began to flip out. He took very drastic actions. He accused people of posting revenge porn. Leaked images from Liminal Order's Wicker group chat showed him declaring an information war against everyone involved. He publicly tweeted at Glenn Beck TV, the CEO of The Blaze, the production company which Sydney and Elijah work for, trying to get them canceled. But he was canceled. He's against cancel culture, and now he's threatening these individuals' jobs. He says, guys, there's more bad news coming out about me. I'm sorry, after I got canceled from my real job and career, things were dark, we didn't have any money coming in, and there were no jobs at all. I was lost and desperate, so my fiance and I did cam porn at home. People paid us to have sex on the couch. We made thousands of dollars and had sex with each other. It is shameful, and I am sorry. It is out there now. I'm sorry you have to deal with it. I understand if this is too much heat for you guys, but this is it. This is my final watching, my final test. I've grown and changed so much since then. He says that he's grown up and moved on, which is the same lie he used when referring to the
That's fucking weird how he views this as a test. It's like, no, dude, you just fucked up. Like, I'm being tested as a man over me being a pervert and lying about it. Like, no, nigga, you just played yourself, like, out in front of everybody.
BSL and rape fantasy articles he wrote in 2015. It's the same thing he's been saying his whole career. We haven't seen any substantive change. He just never learns. And in that whole paragraph sentence run on, he never actually apologized for the actions that he did. If he was truly a socially conservative male, then why is he apologizing for it being exposed? He's not apologizing for doing the act, for lying to his fan base, for lying to his paying customers. He's not actually legitimately regretful, and he's not being honest in his apology either. He was revealed as a fake masculine guru and a fake social conservative, and like a cat backed into a corner or being held above a bathtub. He just freaks out. He made it sound like Elijah Schaffer and Sydney Watson were plotting against him, participating in Holocaust denial as well.
So I'm sitting on the show and we're talking, and they're joking about reading super chats where people are building like gas chambers, and she's reading out loud like, how did I build this gas chamber that didn't kill all the Jews that I was supposed to kill, right? It's like insane, the super chats that she reads.
However, Elijah actually explained it like this.
Full on Holocaust denial super chats, and she reads it so innocently. And it's always something that's like, it's a horrible. I'm listening, she's laughing, and she'll be like, how is it then that if like
Are we gonna do the ovens and the cookies?
Yeah,
now?
no, she'll read it so innocently. She'll be like, but they're so good. And get her, they'll be like, I love carpentry and building things. I built a wood door for my shower, but the steam still got out while I was showering. How could wood keep steam in the shower and keep the gases in? And she'll read it, she'll be like, I don't know. Maybe like she'll like respond, maybe like a different type of a glass door. And she's like moves on, and I'm just like,
Jon Goldman is once again lying, trying to make himself look better, and the people that he is said are his enemies and plotting against him, make them look just terrible. He tries to get conservatives canceled and acts contrary to his social conservatism. Jack Murphy claims to be a Christian, but just as recent as 2 years ago, he was doing gay porn. We haven't seen adequate repentance, remorse, or change. Jack Murphy claims to be a masculine man, but is commonly taking part of insecure freakouts and non-masculine sexual practices. He's someone who freaks out about woke leftists and how he was canceled, and then he goes and cancels other people. Jack Murphy's rise and fall is ludicrous and mysterious. His connections to people in DC, which are widely unknown, the content of his job at the charter schools, which we haven't even talked about, and I will probably say for a future video, so make sure to subscribe, is not at all what it seems. He was astroturfed into the spotlight. He was immature in the past and immature in the present, constantly freaking out, losing his mind. He's a pathological liar. Now all of this is being exposed and documented here for the first time in a consistent and formatted way. So that's a pretty big problem for Jack Murphy. But honestly, this is probably the least of Jon Goldman's problems. In American politics, it's pretty common for people to be accused of being a federal agent. Being a federal agent means that you're just a spy, a spook, someone who's spying on right-wing groups for the federal government. But this is not just another one of those labels being thrown around. There's serious reason to believe that the Liminal Order is a blackmail operation, a honeypot, or a federal agent trap. The managing editor at Modern Age Journal said the following: I don't care that Jack Murphy made porn. He probably should care if he's a conservative. Like that should matter. That should matter to him. What I do care about is that the Liminal Order seems like a serious security risk. It looks similar to other blackmail / entrapment schemes we've seen in the past. In the Jack Murphy saga, we have a GeorgeTown School of Foreign Service grad living under an assumed name, cultivating a vetted secret society of men. Apparently one of whom just killed 5 people who use a chat app with shady origins and at least some CIA financing. Not good. I'm not saying that the Liminal Order is a blackmail ring, but if you want to make a blackmail ring, it would look a lot like the Liminal Order. Murphy claims Wicker, which they use to communicate, has nation-state level security. Like I said more than a year ago to Proud Boys, anyone still in the Liminal Order should leave now. You should at least assume your comms are being read. Here's a group whose base members' information is in the hands of a guy who it's not even clear if he's actually a right-winger. He didn't lose his job because of politics, he lost it because of apologism. The potential for mischief here is huge. The various people who boosted him the last few years should consider the potential for collateral damage to conservatives who get involved with Jack Murphy's program. We've already talked extensively about the suspicious circumstances of Jack Murphy's rise, his connections to multiple people, his access to the levers of power, his constant lies about why he was fired, who he was fired by, and what he knew and who he knew. His timeline, stories, and anecdotes don't line up. His ideology and his actions don't line up. He launches the Liminal Order about masculinity only half a year after doing homosexual acts in an attempt to get money while he was supposedly struggling financially, which is another potential lie that I frankly don't believe, because if you look into what he was doing with the charter school businesses, he was incredibly wealthy. The Liminal Order, which is hosted on Wicker, a CIA-funded messaging app, has a pseudonym, and now members of the Liminal Order are committing acts of violence. I'm not saying Jon Goldman is a Fed, but I'm saying that if there were a Fed group, it would look a lot like Jon Goldman and his Liminal Order. We know what's happened before with these types of groups. And what I do know for a fact about Jon Goldman is that he's a pathological liar, someone who's compromised his faith, his ideology, his masculinity, and then lied to the faces of millions of people just to make more money. He jumped from the populist libertarian movement in the early days of Trump to the national conservative movement in the later stages of Trump because they were the ones that were more prevalent ideologically speaking. He has betrayed his audience, his supposed God, and his ideology. He has saying his name and his connections. Let this be a warning to my audience about the type of people that are very successful in the conservative movement. Many of these people are sick, many are wrong, many are not acting in good faith. People like Jim Hoft, Cassandra Fairbanks, and maybe even Tim Pool are all bad news. Jack Murphy is just the latest individual to be exposed. The truth is elusive, but when the truth is found, it pronounces itself triumphantly. And trust me, the truth always gets out. Special shout.
He ended this amazingly. Okay, so that is that video. The Rise and Fall of Jack Murphy Into the Abyss, a deep dive by David Carlson, the DC perspective. Friend of the show. He is really good at making videos. He takes a while, but it came out. High production. You can't say that about my videos. But I did want to get you some content, sort of, my commentary, because I haven't seen this video before. And I know a lot about the Jack Murphy situation. The guy is deplorable. He is unprincipled. Frankly, I think it's because of a lack of religion. And, he's not a strong Christian. You can see this. He is an opportunistic liar. He clearly cannot deal with a lot of issues in his life, like keeping a marriage together. He is divorced. So he does have all these flaws. And he has physiognomy issues. We saw that in the videos that were blurred out. We saw the dyed beard, balding, of course, just a weird ass motherfucker, 50-year-old man. Probably not even that. He just looks bad. And just overall a terrible person. He is not very intelligent either, so it's not like we're losing anything. He isn't extremely talented, so we're not losing anything by getting rid of him, deplatforming the guy through cancel culture and just shaming the dude and saying, you know what, you say you're conservative and you're a porn star, more or less. And even if you're not a conservative and you say like, oh, I'm just right wing or something, it's like, well, you're still cringe. And you know what? I don't even care if you're conservative and do porn. You shouldn't be doing it in the first place, like regardless of your ideology. It is a complete waste of your, complete waste of your respectability and your honor. And so this guy deserves no honor as a man, no respect. He is a degenerate and he's a liar about it too. So that makes him even worse. So yes. The video, in and of itself, was pretty good. Again, I do have some recommendations for DC. I would say the lines in the video, like the horizontal ones, I think you overdid it with that, and you definitely don't need those, like when you have just your face on the screen. And about your face on the screen, I would say that you should move your body like a foot away from the camera, like relative to where you are now, like move like 2 steps further behind. And maybe there's a reason why you don't do that. Maybe like you have to be within a certain range or else the camera gets out of focus. I don't know. But that would be preferable. And overall, very high quality video, dude. I'm pretty proud of David. He's come a long way, quite frankly, so that is good to see. I rate the video like an 8 out of 10. Really good stuff. A lot of the issues with the video can be solved like very easily in the next one. And Jack Murphy bros are on suicide watch. Liminal Order retards are regretting spending $1,000 a year. I'm glad he's losing his livelihood, and I hope that nobody watches him anymore. And if Tim Pool has him on the show again, it'll just show his character as a little bitch. But who cares? Anyways, guys, comment down below what you thought of the video, and by video I mean mine, and comment down below also what you want to see in the future, and whether or not my voice sounds different. I think I sound different. My voice feels deeper, but obviously on the mic I come off higher pitch, which is annoying, but it is what it is, guys. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, bros.